NFL analyst Mark Schlereth and LeVar Arrington. Marcellus, I'll start with you. I think Cam will be in the MVP hunt this season.
No, not at all. Respect to Cam Newton, who may be my favorite football player, certainly if you don't want to talk about the MVP and Patrick Mahomes, who is quickly coming for that title. This is why he won't win the MVP or be even in the conversation, truthfully. You talk about a guy who's coming off of 2 shoulder surgeries in the last couple of years. You talk about a guy who is now getting into the system, and we saw last year couldn't throw the Hail Marys at the end of the year. Okay, he could redeem himself. Great. He could have a great year. Andrew Luck had a great year, was the comeback player of the year, and was not in the MVP conversation. I think Cam Newton will find himself somewhere in that world of, if you want to consider him for comeback player of the year, maybe, but he's probably overqualified for that. Plus, Jimmy G's coming back. And you talk about what the MVP is going to look like in terms of numbers. That's a 5,050 award now. You got to tell me, is Cam Newton going to come back and throw 50-ish?
Don't have to do it.
5,000-ish yards? So where is it going to come from? That's why I think Patrick Mahomes and others are going to stretch the MVP conversation. And last year was a 2-man race. And it really was only a 1-man race.
Drew and Patrick.
Yeah, Drew Brees, Patrick Mahomes, but Drew Brees was thrown in there a lot for the nostalgia and everything. So that race is going to go a little too far in terms of the numbers that Cam Newton can put up, but he's going to ball out and he's going to be Cam and he's going to help that team, obviously.
Let me tell you why you're correct about a lot of the things you said about Cam and why you're incorrect when it comes to the MVP race, okay? Cam has an unfair comparison that he has to live up to, and that's the Cam, 2015 Cam.
Mm-hmm. He can do that again.
There's no way he'll do that again because of the maturity, because of the growing up, because he realizes that his body will not survive the way he played in 2015. You have to think about this. Cam Newton in 2015 completed 59 point whatever % of his passes. Last year, under Norv Turner, he completed 67.9% of his passes. It was for him the highest completion percentage he's ever had. Now, he's gone through this maturation process. He has grown up. He understands that he's going to have to win games in the NFL from the pocket. And he also understands at going on 30 now, he can no longer do the things he's done to his body and be successful in this league. So when we look at Cam for MVP, we'll always compare Cam to the dynamic guy who could take off and run and score touchdowns and jump. He's just not going to put himself in that situation. Like, I had this conversation with him, and it was fascinating to me. And he had a presence about him. He had a humility about him, and it shocked me. I really, as an NFL analyst and a guy who does games, it shocked me a little bit. And so we're having the conversation. I said, what's different about you? And he said, oh, man, I had an experience with my daughter. I said, what happened? He goes, she was throwing a temper tantrum we're in the mall or whatever, and she's throwing a temper tantrum. And I'm like, how is it you're acting like this? You're acting like a spoiled brat, blah, blah. And he said, my mother looked at me and said, she just acts exactly like you. Mm-hmm. And he goes, and it was a punch to the gut. And I said to myself, I said to myself, this is Cam going, man, I gotta fix that. I gotta clean things up. To me, he has accepted that responsibility. He's a different guy, and he understands he can't win long-term that way, and we can't get that vision of him being Superman out of our minds. That's why he's not an MVP candidate.
That's a hard one because I lived that. The LeVar leap needed to take place every single play for me to be a successful football player, and that can hurt and hurt your ability to be seen as a real player. You know, it's been personalized as to why or why not he won't become the MVP of this league. I look more so from a team standpoint. I love football because it's a total team sport. Your success is based upon how you play as a team. We can look at the stats. We can throw a lot of different things out there that may justify one reason or another why the man may be the MVP in the running or not. You mentioned a guy by the name of Drew Brees. Drew Brees has brought that entire team with him. And they're able to, with different guys, different years, are able to maintain a high level of accomplishment. I see that same type of leadership out of Cam Newton. The thing he has working in his favor is Drew Brees Ryan are in the same division in that NFC South. If he wins out his division, if he shows a dominant ability to play within his division, he's certainly in the discussion of being the MVP. So I don't even look at it from the standpoint of, okay, well, if Mahomes comes with a ton of passing yards, he may very well get the MVP award based upon, again, where the team ends up. Because I don't see a guy getting massive numbers getting an MVP award over somebody who may not have the same numbers, but they're having success as a team, especially at the quarterback's position. So I look at Cam being in position to say, okay, I'm going to be competitive. I'm going to lead my team. Somebody over here may run for more yards. McCaffrey may run for more yards because of the elements I provide as a running quarterback, the elements I provide in being able to throw the ball downfield, the things that we create matchup-wise against the defenses. It's going to be a Styles points type of deal for Cam Newton, and he's going to have to first start by dominating and winning his division, and then he's in the conversation.
And Marcel, obviously I love Patrick Mahomes.
Man.
But I think what's going to happen with the numbers is kind of like what's happened with James Harden, what's happened with Russell Westbrook. It's like, okay, triple-double, that's nice. Oh, yeah. 50 TDs, that's nice. Blah, blah, blah. And then it's going to be looking at all the intangibles. People will start looking for other narratives, other stories. And I think Cam will have a great story to tell because watching him last year where he struggled with the shoulder and things like that, to me, were in the second half, fourth quarters of the game. They were in a lot of tight games that gave him a chance to have a fourth quarter comeback. And that's where I think the maturity, the repaired shoulders, second year with North Turner, second year with Christian McCaffrey as a featured guy, I think we're going to see Cam in the fourth quarter of games do some incredible things that keep him in another fourth quarter comeback from Cam Newton. I don't think he has to match. I don't even think if Mahomes throws 50 and Cam throws 38 and they're 12-4 and Cam's led some fourth quarter comebacks and Cam has 6 rushing TDs, I think Cam's got a hell of a story for MVP because I just remember the first 6 games of last year, and I was like, oh, my God.
First 8, they were 6-2. Yeah, I remember.
But I'm just saying, Cam's play, I was like, oh.
Oh, yeah.
But he was doing the majority of his damage from the pocket. And he had the conversation with me. Like, I've been so – and I think one of the problems with being a really gifted athlete is that you rely on being a really gifted athlete.
Yeah, right.
And eventually, all of us that have played this game, our skills diminish, our athletic skills diminish. And then you better understand the game from your neck up. And what Cam has done, as he has admitted, man, I relied on my athleticism that too many times. If the first read's not open, man, I'm going to take off, go make something happen. I'm a ball player, right? And now, last year, he looked at himself and like, I can't survive doing that. I have to be more of a student of this game and learn this game from the neck up. I give him a boatload of credit because that is for a great athlete, and he is one of the freaks of freaks when it comes to being athletically gifted. I mean, he walks into a room and you're like, oh, my Lord, that's a quarterback? I mean, it's crazy. But I give him just a ton of credit for what he's done and the fact that he has matured enough to understand that I've got to do it this way. And like I said, tip of the hat to him, North Turner, for understanding that and growing as a football player, especially from the neck up.
I'm telling it like how it is. You guys don't confuse me. I'm not telling you how I want it to be.
No, I got you.
And how it is I'm going to give you a list. Okay, we already know Patrick Mahomes is going to do something this year. He's going to respond and probably respond well. Jared Goff, who got slept on last year in the conversation, is coming back with a loaded roster. So you talk about record and you talk about passing numbers, Russell Wilson. And then you give him DK Metcalf or whatever that's going to look like. It's going to be probably something special. Aaron Rodgers, his redemption, his new situation, you know he's going to put up some numbers. Carson Wentz. I haven't even finished. I mean, that's where Cam is going to get put in terms of the visual, the optics. And then when you get into the counting numbers, we know he won't qualify just on those alone. And then it's going to be those special moments. And I'm not saying he's going to come short in moments, but he's going to come short when you combine it with the numbers that the others may have moments as well.
I think LeVar makes a great point, though. If you win the South with those two quarterbacks that have been MVPs, MVP candidates. Matt Ryan was an MVP just a couple of years ago. So if you can win that division and outduel those two guys, I think that would be, regardless of numbers, I think that would be the biggest feather in his cap if he can do that, because that division is loaded with some guys who can play.
I think he has an ego like a lot of guys in the league, but it's an ego backed up by competitiveness as well. A lot of guys have egos, but they're not super competitive. Cam, I think in a positive way, is like, oh, y'all think Patrick Mahomes is what I am? Because I believe, even with the injured shoulders, with the repair, Cam Newton believes and has an argument, I'm the most talented quarterback in this league.
Is this LeBron and Steph in football? Like,
a little bit,
right? Like, oh, that little cute stuff over there. Okay,
another personal point to add to it, as Mark made so clear and so well stated. I've had a lot of time during my time with Under Armour, spending a lot of time with Cam as well. And one of the things that you start to realize about him is his ability to carry the weight of what he always wanted to be. The things he went through when he was at Florida, how he ended up at Auburn, overcame the odds, ends up playing for a national championship game, wins a national championship game, wins the Heisman. He's all of these major things. But one thing you realize when you meet that man is his care for the younger generations, the things he does with his 7-on-7 programs and different things like that. He is constantly out there building that rapport and building that accountability. And a lot of times when you're looking at that MVP's position, a lot of it is driven by how the community feels about you as well. You know, it's not just literally coming down to numbers as to why somebody is going to be anointed the guy that is the MVP of this league. A lot of times it's the story that is attached to and associated with the guy who's getting that award. And Cam has been in this community. There are so many people that are relying on him, so many people that dream of being who he is based off of direct interaction with this young man. And I think that the way he has conducted himself, and a lot of it for me, I felt it came after the car accident. Now, it could have been, some of it had maybe to do with the daughter and him having a family life, but I felt he was a different person altogether, spiritually and motivated in a different way after that situation took place. Again, I look at Cam and what it is, why he plays the game the way that he plays it, and a lot of it is based upon what he represents to the people who are watching him. And those are dangerous people. When you're watching somebody who's playing for something that's more than themselves, that's a dangerous person to deal with.
All right. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. And be sure to check out more of the best clips from Speak For Yourself, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.